then you have a 3. So you're looking for the smallest number that all of those numbers will divide into. So basically 2 and 3. So the smallest number that those will divide into would be 6. So we need to identify that first as our least common denominator. So the least common denominator is going to be 6. So the next step is going to be multiplying each of those terms by the least common denominator. Now I'm going to write it out explicitly, but of course, once you get a little quicker, you don't have to write it out so clearly. But I want to do this to emphasize that we're multiplying each term, and I'll even put this back over the 1, and we're multiplying each term by that 6. Okay, so you've got 6 times the first term, 6 times the second term, and that's everything on the left side of the equation. And then we have 6 times this term on the right side of the equation, and then 6 times the 1/3 right here. So you can do it all in one step, or we can write it out like this. And so when we do this, I like to use my cross canceling method. You can certainly multiply 6 times -7, get that number, and then divide by 2. Or you can do cross canceling and say 2 will divide into 6, and that gives you 3. And then 3 times the -7 will give you -21, and then you have x. So that keeps the numbers smaller, which makes it easier to do all of the calculations. So here 3 will divide 6, that'll give you a 2. 2 times the 7 is 14. And on the right side, we'll just get -18x. And then here 3 will divide 6 and we'll make that 2. And so 2 times 1 will have a -2. And so this step can usually go pretty fast once you practice, and it makes the equation so much more friendly, right? Because you don't have any fraction operations that you have to deal with, which can be a little more tedious because it has more steps. So then from here, we can just add the 18x over, and we're just showing all of our steps. So that's going to give us -3x plus 14 equals a -2. We can subtract the -14 or subtract 14. And so you have -3x is -16. And then dividing both sides by a -3, x is going to be 16 over 3. So that will be our final answer for this particular problem.